Welcome to Wealth Champ Podcast. I'm your host, Julius Hammond. I'm here with another fire guest. She's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's articulate, and she has a lot to bring to the marketplace. But before I reveal who it is, I want to give a shout out to my team for doing all the things behind the scenes here. If you want to record or do a podcast, Ontario Podcast Studios, go on the website and make sure you guys, pay for recording or whatever the case may be. And you can come here and record. You can bring your own props. We can store for a fee. And, you can start your own podcast, and we can show you how to do all that behind the scenes. Another thing I need you guys to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys can get updates on all the new episodes that I'm coming out with, the influencers, the health people, the influencers, and everybody else that's going to be on the podcast. So make sure you guys don't want to miss a beat. Now, the person who I have on today, she has a school called Impact School where she helps entrepreneurs and students monetize on their social media, on their business, and whatever they want to do, right? She's very knowledgeable in those spaces. She's been on stages with Gary Vee, interviewed Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, etc. And she also has a journey where she's lost a lot of weight from where she came from to where she's at now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wealth Champs Podcast, Miss Lauren Tickner. How you doing, Miss Lauren Tickner?
I'm doing good, even better now that I'm here, because what you're all about is amazing. And I think that wealth is so wrongly interpreted by so many people. And when you get one area of your life that is super wealthy, and then you're able to much more easily bring it into the other areas. So a lot of respect for what you're doing. I know this is going to be a great conversation, and we're going to share a ton of value with your people.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for being on. And you are a wealth of knowledge. And I've been following your social medias, and you post damn near every day. So you have a great sense of humor, and I love your accent. Well, where are you from? Because you have an accent. So what part of the world are you from?
I don't know. Do I have the accent, or is it you? Right? Because to me, you're the one that has the accent here. But yeah, I'm actually from the UK, but I don't sound super British because, I work with a lot of people in the US. I live in Dubai, so it's kind of one of those expat with accents. And I got these Invisalign in my teeth right now, and it makes my voice sound even more weird. So here we are.
No, it's all good. Shout out to the UK. They definitely born and bred a wonderful person, human being. Obviously, God did that, but the UK made you, and we can't be more grateful for that. But before we get into your school and your weight loss journey and all the stuff that you've done up to this point, who is Lauren Tickner? Where's she from? What are her family's life like? Because people resonate with stories. I know I do. So, stories tell. So people want to know if they are coming from a impoverished area or they are down in their business right now. Where they want to have some kind of hope. Where did Lauren Tickner come from?
Yeah, I always am so interested in thinking about myself in 10 years from now and wondering what is the moment that I'm having in this week, this day, this month, this year that is going to become one of those pivotal moments for me looking back. Because now I look at everything that goes on in my life as just another page of the book that I'm going to write one day that's going to become a best-selling book and change millions of lives. But back in the day, the whole reason why I got started into anything I do now in entrepreneurship was never to be an entrepreneur. I was at this party one time, and I think I was this is going back, but I was 15 years old, and I was about to go to a different school. And I remember I got to this party, and all the guys, these British little boys, start shouting, Mackie D's, Mackie D's. And at first I was wondering what is going on. And as I walked closer to them, they just kept looking at me. And I wasn't hugely overweight or anything, but I was going through puberty. So I had a bit of a shiny forehead, and I was new to the crowd. Mm-hmm. And at that point forth, I realized, holy crap, I need to do something about my body weight. I need to change how I look in order to fit in with everybody. So for the next few years, I went on these crazy diets. I lost a ton of weight, and I finally started getting attention from guys, which I had never really had before. And I was doing everything that I could to fit the mold of being a desirable young girl. And so I was essentially slaving my life away to be liked by other people. And I kind of lost myself in that. And then what ended up happening was I started getting these really bad panic attacks. So my younger brother is disabled, and I think that there was a lot of trauma from my childhood that was just trapped inside of me, that after I lost weight and after I just pretty much sacrificed myself in the hopes that other people would like me more, which it did work, by the way, but for a big cost, which was I was having these panic attacks every day. And I don't know if you ever had a panic attack, but if you have, you'll know that you literally feel like you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always thought I was like having a heart attack, or I just was not going to be able to breathe, and I would just pass out and die. And so I got this huge fear of having a panic attack, which made the panic attacks worse. So one day this is a few years later now, I was driving home from the gym. Like this lasted for a long time. I was driving home from the gym and I started having panic attack again. And I pulled my car to the side of the road and I just started crying. And I thought, like, I literally have trapped myself here. And the whole reason why I had this vision when I was a younger kid of being successful and making stuff happen for myself is because I wanted to have freedom. Because my brother, who's disabled, he had his freedom taken away from him at birth.
Mm.
And so I realized, like, I need to change. And again, I had another second pivotal moment, which was I need to get healthy. I need to take care of my body. I need to take care of myself. So from that point forth, I had to have that really rock bottom moment to realize that it's not all about me pleasing other people. It's not all about me trying to fit in. It's about me creating a future for myself in my head first, deciding where that future is going to be, where it's going to go. And from there, taking the steps that I need to take to make that happen and realize this is my life. It's my responsibility to make my dreams come true. So that's how I got started. And it eventually led me into the world of entrepreneurship from there.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, because everybody has a story, and I kind of share my story. I've shared it on a few other episodes with other entrepreneurs and people who I've interviewed. But for this episode, I'll share it again. Like for me, the reason why I'm always in the gym, I grew up playing football, basketball, baseball, and boxing, right? So I played all the physical sports, especially football and boxing. And so as I was growing up, my parents started having health issues. My mom had all kinds of health ailments and going on with her, from strokes to diabetes to congestive heart failure. And my dad ended up dying from a prostate cancer, right? And, you know, it's the foods that we eat and the things that we're not taking care of yourself will ultimately can be your demise, right? And so I told myself I didn't want to be like that. So I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock, I'm in the gym for about an hour and a half. And it motivated me. It gave me the fuel to go forward to make sure that I had optimal health, so where I can be able to be at the office and grind and work on my business and not be so lethargically tired to where I can't produce because I'm so drained and I'm not in the best health I need to be in, right? And so what made you, instead of going the left way, because some people go into a Great Depression and they end up going the opposite way, and then obviously tragically they can commit, you know, suicide or whatever. What made you say, you know what, I need to go from the left side to the right side? What I mean by that, Jay, throw up the picture, the left side to the right side. So in this picture, guys, that my engineer is going to throw up any second here, but there you go. The left side, that's her on the left, and then now you see how wonderful and beautiful she is on our right side, and great health. You got the six-pack going and the arms and everything. What motivated you, instead of going to the left side where you're in the Great Depression, to now you're on the right side to where you are living your best life, literally?
Yeah, you can see on that left side, I got the drink in my hand. I was just drinking all the time. I was getting super drunk. I was trying to fit in, party with everybody else. And the next day, the next week, I would just feel miserable and just dream of getting drunk again because I just wanted to be able to escape from my reality. And so everybody has that vision in that, like, okay, just take yourself back to when you were a little kid. Mm-hmm. And when you're a little kid, you have these hopes and dreams. You're excited about the future. You're excited about what you're going to be when you grow up. And I always knew that I was going to be successful, but I could never answer that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I just felt like nothing ever fitted for me. And it left me feeling so confused, because I think that's how I was able to become somebody that would always just try and fit in with the crowd and do what everybody else was doing, because I didn't know where I fitted in. And so what I've realized now is, by the way, pretty much all my friends are entrepreneurs, and literally all of them felt the same way. They felt like they didn't fit in some way, shape, or form. So that's just a side note. But the reason why is because I had this vision. I knew I was going to be successful. And because my younger brother, he has epilepsy, autism, he's in a wheelchair, he doesn't eat, he has a tube in his stomach because he cannot eat because he is so disabled.
Wow.
Because he had his freedom stripped away from him at birth, I felt like I was now getting my freedom taken away from me because I was being controlled by my anxiety. And so once I had this moment where I just was like, when I pulled over on the side of the street in my car, I knew I had to change. And I can't even explain what happened. It's like this moment was created for me to realize that I had to do something about the actions that I was taking. Because at the end of the day, it was self-inflicted. I was not eating properly. I was way overtraining. And I was essentially doing the opposite of what, you should be doing when you're getting into health, which is doing it in a more balanced way. And so at that moment, I went back home and I was failing my exams. I needed to get 3 A's to get into the university that I wanted to get into. And I was getting like C's because I was always partying or I was in the gym. It was one or the other for me. So I had this talk with myself and I just decided enough is enough. Like, you need to get healthy. You need to sort yourself out and you need to actually get back on track to being the successful woman that you know that you're meant to be. And anybody watching this right now clearly knows that you want more wealth, you want more success, you want more peace, you want more happiness, you want more prosperity. And so if you're taking actions that are in the other direction of that, then you are the one that is putting yourself in a situation to cause these consequences to show up in your life. Because my anxiety was just a symptom of the fact that I was doing all these things that were negative to my health. And it was also a symptom of the fact that I was trying to fit in so hard. And so when I was able to finally realize, like, I am the only one, like, when I'm not around my friends, they're not thinking about me. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about how can they make themselves cooler? How can they make themselves better, etc. I'm thinking about myself and they don't necessarily care about me. So I need to go back and I need to care about myself so that other people will care about me for me. And this was a really weird time for me because until that moment, yeah, I mean, everything that I was doing as a teenager was driven by other people. And I think that that's what allowed me to just go totally in the other direction, not care what anybody thinks about me. And I pretty much don't care at all now. I just want to be able to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. And I want to be able to put out the stuff into the world that's interesting for me. And it really came from remembering my brother's situation. And, I was still a teenager then. I was still living with him. So I saw him every day. And it just reminded me that at the end of the day, I was just destroying my own life when he didn't have the choice of having freedom or not. He was given this at birth, whereas I did have the choice. And so I should make the most of the fact that I could ultimately create an incredible life for myself.
That's awesome that you said that. You made some great points, and I want to hit on a couple of them. You said when you're not around your friends and they're not around you, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves because they're worrying about their bills. They're worrying about the daily things that's going on with them, their family activities or whatever. And you got to a point where you had to really focus on yourself and stop doing the things that were counterproductive to having good health, to really align yourself with, with that, to be in alignment with that. So that way you can really be able to live the life that you truly want to live. And then the second thing that you said that I want the audience to really understand is you use your brother's disability, I should say, as a tool to fuel yourself because he was stripped at birth. You were causing your own demise, but him, I'm not gonna say he's the demise or whatever, but because he's not exactly living the life that he would like to live, or you guys would like to use that as fuel to be able to propel you to doing the stuff that you're doing now. People need to understand. I really want them to hit on that because we do this to ourselves all the time. People don't understand when you're doing this, health to go bad when you're eating McDonald's or Burger King or In-N-Out. Yeah. Eating a burger, you're still eating something that is like 1,200 calories, and then now you got to go and work out in the gym for 3 hours and be on the treadmill for maybe an hour or something, just trying to burn off that calories, and you're gonna put all that right back into your system. It's chemically based. It's a lot of stuff that's going on with that, and you're causing your own health to be going on a decline when you're not doing that. I really want the audience to understand what you said just now.
Yeah. So I always used to resent my brother, actually, and it's something that I felt really guilty about for a lot of my childhood because I was not able to experience things in my life as a kid that I wanted to do because I wanted to go skiing or I wanted to take a vacation with my family, but because they didn't have the facilities for like disabled kids or because my brother needs like one-on-one care at all times, then we wouldn't have been able to have done those family activities. So seeing somebody who had no choice and then realizing that I was the one that was creating this stress in my own life was a blessing for me personally, because if I hadn't have had my brother there and seeing him all the time having seizures and not really being able to do anything, like he doesn't walk either, I think if I had not seen that, then I wouldn't have had the inspiration to take control over my life. So for those people who are in that situation right now where things feel really difficult, where you feel like you just can't get progress in the area that you're looking to win in, unfortunately for a lot of us, I think that we need to hit those rock bottom moments. But if you hit the rock bottom moment, then it's like, when is it actually enough for you? Because would it have needed to have been that if those boys hadn't have been chanting like Mackie D's, would I have had to have gained like another 50 pounds to realize that I needed to do something about losing my overweight? What would it have been for me? What is it for you? When you actually get real with yourself, like what is the moment in which you're going to realize that you need to change? Because if you don't change, things are going to stay how they are right now. Because time's going to pass either way, so you might as well make the most of it. Because the hours are going to tick by, the minutes are going to tick by, the days are going to go by. And so you hate your situation right now. So either you hate the situation or you change the situation and hate the change, but then realize that in the long term, the change that is hard is going to get you to ultimately where you I remind myself of every single day. Time's going to pass either way, whether I make the most of it or not. Because when you live that way, then you actually, instead of scrolling on Instagram or Googling random shit on the internet, you start to actually catch yourself in those moments. And that ultimately is consciousness and being aware. And then you're able to divert your attention into something that's more productive, that will take you upon the path in which you want to be.
That's awesome points. Awesome points. So I want to pivot here. Thank you for your story, because a lot of people are resonating with that right now who's going through that. So now let's talk about your podcast / impact, your business, which is called Impact School. So from what I read, you teach people how to monetize on social media. You have a coaching business, and you do a few other things. So go into, if someone wants to contact you, what is Impact School about? How can you help someone who's brand new to entrepreneurship or brand new to business? They don't know nothing from nothing, but they want to go from here to here. How do you help with that? What is Impact School about?
Yeah, so we help people sell their knowledge and expertise online. So if someone is like really brand new and they don't have an area of expertise, then we're probably not the best people to help them. Maybe they can consume my free content, your free content, and sharpen the skills before selling it online. Because I really believe that education, I dropped out of the UK's #1 business degree because my professors had never had their own business. And I went to the front of the classroom one time, and I was in an accounting lecture, and I was selling these fitness programs, and he was talking about tax. And I thought, crap, I need to pay tax, because I didn't think about it, right? And so I go to the front, and I'm like, hey, sir, I have a question, and I hope you can help me. And he's like, yeah, sure, Lauren, what's up? And he's looking at me a little confused, because he could tell how confused I was. And I was like, that lecture was really interesting, but I have clients in America, Australia, in Europe, and I don't know how I need to pay the tax. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, I have a business. He's like, you have a business? And I was like, yeah. And I told him like roughly my revenue back then. And it was like kind of in the mid 6 figures. And he looked at me and he was like, you haven't paid taxes? And I said, no. And then he was like, well, that's a question for Google. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I'm literally in your class. I'm the only one that has a business. I'm doing pretty well for myself, considering I'm 19 years old. And you're telling me that I need to Google this rather than just asking you, sat in front of me, who should be able to help me. So I researched this guy. I was like, who the bloody hell is this guy who clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. So he had never had his own business, and he had only worked in an accounting, like a lecture kind of, I can't explain it. Like before he was in the university, he was doing essentially like some teaching for some low level like accounting people. So I was kind of shocked at that moment because like he had no real world experience. And I just thought, well, if you've not ever had the experience that I need, how am I supposed to trust that this business university is going to be giving me the thing that I need? So it was honestly like a real wake up call for me. And I realized that the people who are the real experts, the people that have the knowledge, they need to package that knowledge up in a way that can reach people that need that knowledge. Because if back then I would have been able to have found some of these guys that are like amazing, all things accounting and taxes, etc., then I would have been in a way better spot. And well, guess what they didn't teach me in university? As a UK citizen, your tax doesn't follow you wherever you live in the world. So I now live in Dubai, which is actually tax-free. And so I'm able to run everything through there, and I don't have to pay any income or capital gains tax or anything like that. And so imagine if I'd known that back then, I could have done some smart things to not need to be paying taxes. Obviously, for US people, it's very, very different because tax follows you guys in the world. But I know the business tax game pretty well in the USA, and there's a lot of things that you can do back then. So why is it that people who are like in formal education are not sharing these things? Well, because I mean, the system doesn't want you to know these things.
There you go.
But I think that if the people that really are the experts are sharing that with people that need that knowledge, then the world becomes a better place. So that's essentially what we do at Impact School. We help the real experts package and sell their knowledge online using social media. And yeah, we're very good at it. So it's really fun being able to help people who are very, very good at what they do, reach people online and do this in a way which is super high leverage for them.
It's funny that you say that because I'll give you a quick story that similar to with your classroom situation with the professor in accounting. So my mom, when she was alive, she had, like I said, she had a lot of health ailments, right? So me and my sister took her to her appointment and a doctor's appointment. And this is a MD who's been a doctor for, at the time, he probably way longer now, but a doctor for like 30-some years, right? So he's supposed to be the expert, correct? So we're in the waiting room, or we're in the not the waiting room. We go into the room where the doctor comes see us, right? So we're in one of those rooms or whatever. And the doctor comes in, and my mom is having some kind of, I think, blood pressure issue or something. Can't remember exactly what we went in for. To make a long story short, it was a new prescription that the doctor was trying to prescribe to my mom to help with this ailment that she was going through. And so me and my sister, we asked the doctor, we say, Doc, well, what is the side effects to this prescription or to this drug, and what does it do? He had the audacity and unmitigated gall to say, I don't know, you might have to Google it. Me and my sister said, what? Google it? You're the doctor. You went to school for all these years. And so, you know what me and my sister did? Now, my sister's a little bit more dramatic than I am. I'm a little bit more calm and calm and stoic. But me and my sister was like, "No, Mom, we out of here." So we picked up my mom and we left. We didn't even let her take the shit. My mom was like, "You guys don't be dramatic." No. The doctor just told us that we have to Google something when he's the doctor. He should know what's in it. Now, I understand doctors and the pharmaceutical companies are, two different things, and they get prescriptions from the pharmacists and things like that. But you should at least get your knowledge from the pharmacy before you prescribe it to one of your patients. Before, you know what I mean? So it's just I say all that to say, just because someone is in a certain position and they have they've been there for a while, or they are teaching at a certain university and they've been there for a while, it doesn't mean they know it. They're just teaching what a textbook or what the system is allowing them to teach. So kudos to you for putting together the Impact School. Actually, throw that picture up there, Jay, so that way people can see. Because not only does she have a school, but she has a podcast where she brings on other people and teaches them that. So I want to pivot over to the people who you know. So throw the other image up there as well. So she's interviewed people like Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone. I mean, the list goes on and on. But what is your podcast? Obviously, Impact School is about what you just said, but what does your podcast pertain to when you're interviewing or you're dealing with these type of people?
It's so funny because I actually started the podcast before I started the company, as it were.
Oh,
before I started the company, I was still kind of like in the fitness space, and I was doing some. I had a couple different agencies actually, and I was helping people basically grow their personal brand, and I was doing lead generation with my team. But so eventually, I realized I need to make a new name for this company. What should it be? And someone on my team was just like, "Why don't we just call it Impact School, like the podcast?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." So that's kind of how that came to be. Yeah, crazy. So on the 13th of September 2020, I'm in the gym, and it's a Sunday morning. And like a classic entrepreneur, grab my phone, check my email. Okay, kind of weird to do on a Sunday morning in Dubai, but here we are. So check my email, and I get this email right at the top, and it says, "Your podcast has been successfully deleted." And I'm like, what? And so I used to work in corporate asset management. And so I was trained on like phishing scams. I did this massive course about it. So I put on my detective cap, and I was like, okay, let's see what the hell is going on here. So I did all the checks to see if it was phishing, and it wasn't. And so I replied to the email. And immediately after I sent the email, I got this response which said, "Unfortunately, the email cannot be sent, and blah, blah, blah. There's something wrong with your server." And again, being an entrepreneur, you know, you wear all the hats, you spin all the plates, and you've done like everything from scratch. And so I knew a thing or two about DNS propagation. And so I thought, oh no, I think somebody has legit hacked my podcast and my entire business.
Wow.
So I quickly call somebody from my team. Thankfully, she answers the phone, because for her, it was like pretty early in the morning in the UK. She was at like a family breakfast. And so we literally went into detective mode to figure out what the hell is going on. So I logged into the podcast provider. And by the way, this is like my 4th day in Dubai after I moved there. Like, I didn't have all my stuff set up. So I'm like not even having data on my phone because I didn't buy a SIM card yet. Like, I'm just using Wi-Fi. So I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. I'm in the gym with my friend trying to do all this. And the podcast had legit been all fully deleted. Like, all the episodes were gone. I had, as you said, interviewed like Elena and Grant Cardone. I'd interviewed a ton of amazing people, and I had more than 100 episodes over a few years. And essentially what had happened is somebody had hacked in to the podcast. They'd hacked into my GoDaddy, where I had all of my domains stored. They had rerouted the primary impact-school.com domain to their server. And that meant that all of my emails were not working, because all my emails are attached to, it's like lauren@impact-school.com. All of my team's emails were not working. Our client portal was also hosted on that domain, which is another lesson. Like, don't have everything under the same bloody domain. But literally everything was hacked and deleted and gone. And so it was crazy. So to answer your question, like, and I should come full circle in this story, we had an employee that was from a few months before. He wasn't performing, and he was trying to steal clients from us and go behind our back, and he was trying to reroute some of the payments from our clients into his actual PayPal. So naturally, we let him go. We ended things on decent terms, but he clearly had a vengeance against us, so he was the one that actually did this whole thing. And we found it out because in GoDaddy, you could see the last IP login, and I connected the IP to essentially like, where is this in the world? And it was in the same town that he's from. So more for him, he should have used a VPN. Exactly. But with that said, yeah, so the aim of the podcast is to essentially take people who are real experts, to interview them, to put their knowledge out there into the world, and to share really amazing value. Lately, what I've been doing is I've just been doing more like solo episodes myself, just because I've got a lot going on, and you know how it is. Sometimes organizing interviews can be like a lot of work. So respect to you and your team for doing that a lot. Yeah, we put out a lot of free content, and yeah, the real aim is just to give people all of the stuff that we give away inside of our paid services, because people don't necessarily buy the information, they buy the support, the implementation. And so that's why with our free stuff, we legit just like put it all out there for free over time, so people can have full access to it.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I have a similar story. One of my companies got hacked actually earlier this year, not last year, earlier this year. And because I have an exotic car rental company, and my website got hacked. One day I just went on there and it kept reverting to a Chase Bank. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, I was like, what's going on? So I called GoDaddy, and they kind of similar, what's going on now. It wasn't where I fired an employee and he or she's trying to, get revenge on me. But they said that during the 2020, when everybody was locked in, and GoDaddy, this is a representative from GoDaddy, they said during the 2020 when everybody was locked down because of the pandemic situation, that a lot of people were getting their websites and things hacked because a lot of people were online, so they couldn't work a physical job or whatever, right? So that happened. That happened to me this year, and so I had to go get some spyware and some extra. What's that thing called with GoDaddy? Where they protect your domain. So I had to get all that, and it cost me a pretty penny to do it. But it's like now it's not saying that. And the crazy part about it is, I paid for it, but they still said that it's like 96 to 97% where it won't do it. So there's still a 3% chance that it can still get hacked. I'm like, well, I'm paying thousands of dollars for it to not be hacked, So it's just funny that the similar story with GoDaddy. I don't know. Some people have been saying, go from GoDaddy, go somewhere else, and try. I don't know. There's a few other ones. Huh?
I've changed. Yeah, I've changed. I don't even publicize where mine's all hosted now because I got a domain. But like the biggest lesson for me was like really not to have all of the domains.
Yeah.
Like everything with one domain. So now I use different domains for various different things, like email, hosting for the clients, cold email, obviously, like all these different things. They have different purposes. But also, the craziest thing was that he hacked past the two-factor authentication. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty scary. Like that's hard to do, and I still don't to this day know how he did that. So yeah, I just don't. So GoDaddy's like a really cool place to like buy domains. I just personally, from my experience, like I'm not using it anymore.
I understand. So I was looking at some of your Facebook, because you post a lot on Facebook and Instagram, at least from what I see, especially Facebook. But did you recently get married, or because I know you have a significant other, but how's that going? I don't know if you're married or not, but how's that going?
Yeah, no, really good. I'm not married, but I think like someone was asking me this earlier. They were asking me like, how do you define success for yourself? And I think the area that I would define my success to be like the highest would be in my relationship. Just because I've done a lot of work to be the person that would attract the person that I would want to be with. And so I stayed single for like quite a long time. And then a couple of years ago, that was when I got into this relationship that I'm in now. And yeah, it's really helped me in so many ways become a better person, a more calm person, because my boyfriend is really like the opposite of me. And I used to think that I would want to be with someone who's like super extroverted, speaking at all these events just like I am. But he's like very, very intelligent, and that's helped me so intelligent and calm, and like while I'm crazy and like extroverted and all this, he's like very, very grounding. And so that is such an underrated thing, I think, in a relationship, because before when I would date people, yeah, like they would all be just like me, and then we would massively clash because we were just always talking, and it would just be, you know, too much energy all the time, and then it would just become like kind of exhausting. So yeah, that was a really interesting thing that I probably wasn't expecting, like in a relationship, to when they say opposites attract, I don't necessarily think that's true. I think having the shared values and vision for the future and level of respect for one another is important. But I think when it comes to like personality, I think it's definitely true that if you find someone who's opposite to you, you can go so much further, right? It's kind of like in a business where you like the visionary needs like an operations person. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's the same thing in a relationship. I don't know. How do you think about this?
No, I'm the same. Me and you marry each other. Like I'm the one, I can speak in front of 10,000 people, 100,000 people, or 100 people, and I'm comfortable, right? And obviously I'm on a podcast, so I'm comfortable doing this and articulate myself. I'm very good at it. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm good with people. I'm an extrovert, so I love dealing with people. I could turn a stranger. My wife is a little bit different. My wife is kind of like your boyfriend. She's more introverted, But now she could be
Yeah.
extroverted. She could be extroverted when it's time to be, but she's more introverted.
Yeah.
So she'll look at everything behind the scenes while I'm in front of everything, trying to make things happen. The A type. She's more like the O type, organizer. You know,
Yeah.
and make sure, hey, you know, hey, make sure Lauren's values and character and everything her integrity lines up with what you're trying to do, because you don't want to go into a business deal with her and then you find out she's really a scam artist, and then now you screwed up our not only your business but our family stuff, because that stuff follows you. So she's the type where she observes from a distance and then she'll give me her input and impact me in that way. So I'm thinking that's what you're saying when it comes to your boyfriend, correct?
Oh my God, he's so similar to her. That is so funny. Like,
Yeah.
basically, it's funny you mentioned scam. Like, I got really, really, really badly scammed to the point where, like, they did it on, like, a level where they were able to, like, sue me. And then I had to pay the lawyer to, like, defend the case for 2 years until finally in the court realized that I was fine. Like, I was right, but they were trying to because it's a really long story. And, like, the whole thing happened because I moved country. And so they sued an old business that I had that was dormant. So they thought that because if they sued me in the UK, then they'd be able to essentially like get it straight over to them, because I wouldn't have noticed any of the suing, like the notes and the service. So it was crazy. So basically what he said to me, he's like, Lauren, well, here's what we need to do. We need to like have a vetting process for people that we put them through, and then we need to like all these steps. And I was like, oh my gosh, because all I'm doing is I'm talking to someone and I'm like vibing with them, and so I'm like, cool, let's do business together. Whereas he's like exactly the same as your wife. Like, he's legit like scheming all the potential things that could go wrong and figuring out a system and a safety net to protect that from happening. And so I definitely need that, because I see like the best in people, and I forget about the downside, and then it becomes too late, and then, you know, obviously bad things happen like I experienced. So I'm very, very grateful to have him.
There we go. We both have the right people in our corner, and hopefully, I'm gonna wish this on you. Hopefully, you know, you guys get married soon. So, what's your boyfriend's name?
His name's Daniel.
Daniel. So, Daniel, when you watch this, I better put a ring on it real soon, brother, because she's definitely a catch. All right. So, do you have any kids? Because if you don't, is that something that you're looking forward toward in the future, building a family?
Yeah, I will get married before we have kids. So I want to be married and have kids, like 2 or 3 kids after that, probably within the next like 3 to 4 years. Not all of them, but I want to have like the first kid within the next like 3 to 4 years. I'm just praying, like, please God, like, give me twins so that I only have to be pregnant once. That would be so amazing.
So you guys agreed on like at least 2 kids, right?
Yeah, that's what we agreed, because but it's kind of like that situation where like obviously he wants to have a boy and I want to have a girl. So he just said like, well, we'll just have to keep having kids until we have one of each at least. And I was like, I don't know if I can be pregnant like that many times. But have you got kids?
Yes, kids? I have 2. I have my own daughter, biological daughter. So story with me and my wife. We met online through a dating site called Black People Meet. I don't know if you heard about it, but it was back then. And so we met, and she has a boy. She's Nigerian, so she's from Nigeria, and so she has a boy, and I have a girl, and so we've been in each other's lives ever since they were like 4 years old. They're both about to be 17 this year. One in October, and my daughter in November. So. You talking about like almost over 10 years of being together, married, and all that stuff, right? So it's been challenging, especially dealing with other cultures, because I'm African American. Now I did do my 23andMe, and I found out through 23andMe that I'm 60% Nigerian. So she was happy about that. She was like, "Yeah, I'm like 60% Nigerian, and another 2% European, another 3% Asian." I'm kind of like a mutt with a lot of stuff in me, right? But my dominant gene is African. So she saw that, and so she was like, "Oh yeah, so you got this," and I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever, right?" But born in America, so we done a blended family thing. So I got the girl, she got the boy, and it's worked out. Some up and downs, but it's worked out tremendously up to this point. So yeah, that's where we're probably done having kids, to be honest, because I'm 39, about to be 40, and same thing with her, we're same age. And we were just talking about this the other night. We were just saying, you know, our kids are about to fly the coop. Do we really want to start over? Because we travel and all that stuff, and we love traveling. I'm a big scenery guy. I love seeing trees and grass and beautiful buildings and all that, right? And that you have to take a step back when not only are we building businesses and things like that to where it's a well-oiled machine, the system is automated and all that, to where we're 6-figure, 7-figure earners, all that stuff. We're doing all that, but then when you're doing that and you're having kids, you have to take a step back from that because you have to raise your kids. So yeah. we're kind of like, we don't know if we want to go back down that route. So we've been thinking a lot more. If we have to, we just adopt, you know, maybe get a pet, something, and we'd be good, you know?
Yeah, like our friends were saying to us yesterday, just last night actually, they were like, you guys should get a pet because it will help you take care of something together, you know, before you actually have kids, which I think is so true. The only thing is we travel a lot, like not out of necessity, but out of choice. And so actually this is one of the things that we speak about all the time is like, just because the schooling system is just not necessarily like, you know, what I would want it to be. Yeah. And so one of the things that I see in, like, for example, Grant Cardone and Elena, how they raise their kids, I think it's quite interesting because I don't know if they do homeschooling or like, have you heard of the concept of unschooling, where you basically don't even do a school curriculum, you just teach the kids the thing that they want to know or that you think is important for them to know at that moment. So it's slightly different to homeschooling. But this is something that I think about a lot because I wouldn't want to put a kid in like a school in one place where we wouldn't be able to go travel and do all of that still. So that's one of the things that over the next couple of years we need to decide upon before we actually commit to having kids. And yeah, I would want to be in a position where like I would have a CEO in my company before I actually start to get pregnant. But at the same time, as a woman, you have that, you know, because for example, like I'm only 26, so I have some time, but at the end of the day, I mean, maybe 39, 40, 45, I don't know how late, everyone's different, right? But there is always the deadline for the woman to be able to have the kids too. So that's also something to think about.
Yeah, the biological deadline supposedly for women is around mid-30s. So you're talking about 34, 35, because now you become what is called more high risk if you get pregnant. You know what I mean? Not saying you can't go through. I mean, you can. There's women who are pregnant at 40, but you know, your eggs, you don't have as much eggs. And now if you get pregnant, because most of the time when you get older, even if you take care of yourself, you'll have some health things here and there. You know, even if you take care of yourself, you can eat right and all that stuff, you'll still have some little things you might have to deal with. It might not be as severe and it's more controlled, but because you take care of yourself, it's not over the top like compared to someone who doesn't. But at the mid-30s is what I was told by a woman that could be more high risk. So you guys definitely, and you're 26 right now, so I mean 9 years they can go by like that. I'm telling you. I remember when I was 29. I'm 39 now, so it goes by fast.
It does, crazy. But this is crazy though. So my parents got divorced like a few years ago, and my dad met a woman the same age as him. So like I guess when they met they were like 49, and no, they were like 40 something, and then she got pregnant at 49 and she had a baby. Like she straight up had a freaking baby at age 49. So now I have like a baby brother who's just turned 3.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, we can just take a test run with him, like see how it is, and then decide if we want to have kids now or wait a few more years.
There you go. Just babysit. That'll let you know, like, okay, you know, are you being a little bit too bad? I'm giving back to your mama. Like, you know, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first one. But yeah, that's crazy. Like she was so old, and yeah, she'd never had any kids before. She was super healthy, like doing a lot of cardio and weight training, and magic.
Wow, that's amazing. Couple more questions for you before I let you go here, Lauren. So you said that you moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
I've only visited Dubai one time. I think it was United Emirates, if I'm not mistaken. I was over there. But what part of Dubai are you at? And then let the people know, because there's a lot of like one of the things I do. I'm a wealth strategist and a coach as well. So, but I teach people how to operate through trust and, you know, the old J.D. Rockefeller saying, own nothing, control everything. So I'll show them how, like, hey, have associations, trust, corporations get everything out of your name, because everything that's in your name, if they try to come sue you or whatever, you're pretty much screwed if it's underneath your name, right? So,
Yep.
but if you do what the elite do, you can, kind of, what's the, I don't want to say get rid of taxes, but you can, what's the word I'm looking for? Tax deferred. You can defer taxes. Yeah, you can defer taxes in perpetuity, pretty much, right? So what is Dubai? Because I know Dubai has a lot of laws and the things that they have. When it comes to multiple wives, and we can go into that later. But what are some of the good stuff that comes with Dubai when it comes to business? You said no income tax, no this that, but really go deep. So for someone who wants to have a business and they want to operate maybe out of Dubai and do a foreign filing wherever they're at, but they're originated from Dubai. What are they expecting when they get from countries like Dubai?
Yeah, so there's a lot of misinformation about being set up in Dubai, because here's the thing: Dubai can change just like that, because they essentially run the country like it's a business. And so if they want to change the rules, they can change the rules. It's not like they have an entire voting system where they put out a ballot and then everyone goes to vote and all this and this. No, like they make a decision and then it's changed. For example, the weekend used to be on Friday and Saturday, and then you would start the work week on Sunday. Like that would be their equivalent of Monday. Then a while ago when I was there, just suddenly one day there was a bit of talk about it, and then next thing we know, the weekends had changed to be like Saturday and Sunday is now the weekend in Dubai. So things can change very, very quickly. And so that's why when it comes to like exact information about like what's going on in Dubai, I try not to necessarily talk about it too much, because like legit it can just change like that, and then what I say becomes incorrect. So when I first moved to Dubai in 2020, there was no corporation tax unless you had like except a small bit of VAT. So tax, which was 5%, if you were operating and selling stuff within the UAE. Whereas like I was never selling within the UAE, I was only selling to like America, UK, blah, blah, blah. So now there's some talk about adding like a 9% corporation tax on everything. So that means that if you were to sell something for 10K, then you'd be, obviously taxed on that for $900. So what I'm saying is like, really it changes a lot. But what is definitely true is that like, if you do have a company in Dubai, and if you also have a tax residency in a non-taxable location, then you could have the business. And let's say you made like $1 million in profit that year. Instead of, obviously, you could just pay yourself a salary of $1 million, right? And then suddenly your company has no profit. And then you personally yourself, if you have a non-taxable personal tax residency, then you don't pay tax. But at the end of the day, like, I would be careful, because as well, USA, for example, USA people, this doesn't necessarily apply to, because USA, you're taxable as you ever, and then you can obviously do the foreign filing thing, which I think, what is that, 10% that you have to pay back to the IRS?
Yeah, around there, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you obviously can do that. But, I mean, I would rather not talk about, like, specifics, because it will just change. August 2023 versus August 2024, hey, who knows? They might add like some crazy income tax by then. I don't think they will, but who knows? But one of the main things that I learned about how to not pay tax is you need to make sure that the place where you live or where you stay most of the time is a non-taxable place. For example, right now I'm in Colombia, but I'm going to be here for less than 3 months. And then I think if I stay here for 6 months or longer, then I would have to pay the taxes to Colombia, because I'm actually in Colombia for a longer period of time. If I was in France, they also have their own rules as to how long you can stay there without having to pay tax. And obviously you need to look into like visas and various different things like that. So most of the time my business is based out of Dubai, and then the rest of the time I'm just traveling and enjoying myself as a tourist in all the other countries.
Wow. So ladies and gentlemen, she just gave you guys a step-by-step of what you guys need to do. So you definitely need to hit her up, okay? Impact School and everything else. Matter of fact, before you go, how can they follow you? What's social media's website? If somebody wants to get in contact with you, email, let the viewers know and subscribers know how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, so you can go onto any social media platform, type my name, which is Lauren Tickner, LaurenTickner, and you can just hit me up and say that you came from here. I'd love to connect. And if you're interested in Impact School, the best place to go would be impactschoolmethod.com, and there's going to be a free training there that essentially breaks down exactly how to spot the bottleneck in your business so that you can self-diagnose the right thing to actually fix. Because I think a lot of people all the time, they think, oh, I need more leads, or oh, my sales system doesn't work, or oh, my team is so frustrating, like they can't figure anything out. But that's simply just a symptom of a real problem. And so that training is like a free training. It just breaks down exactly how to figure out like what actually is the real problem that's going on, so that you can fix the right thing and then focus over the next quarter, the next few months, the next year on moving the business forward in the right direction, rather than feeling productive but just moving sideways. So yeah, those will be the best places to connect with me.
Okay, and then one last question before I let you go, Lauren. How's your brother doing? I know you said that, you know, he's had his, you know, disability ever since he was born, but how's everything going for him right now?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. Well, now I guess I have two brothers, right? I have the one
Oh,
who's
yeah, the 3-year-old, yes. There you
so
go.
yeah, so my brother Adam, he's 2 years younger than me. Yeah, I mean, like every time I visit him, it's honestly really, really sad. Like he lives in a care home in England, and like he just can't do anything. So we love him so much, and like we bless him, we love him, we care about him, and the main thing that I want to just be aware of every time I see him and whenever I think about him is just like, in his mind, like, is he happy? Because you can't really tell.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've done everything that we can for him to put him in the best place possible for him, where it's safe, where there's activities going on, where he can, you know, be comfortable. But unfortunately, like, you know, he's been on so many medications since he was so young. And like, this is also another thing about like pharmaceuticals. Because when he was a younger boy, he could run and talk and everything. But I truly believe that the big pharma is what has caused him to be where he's at. Because while that has taken, you know, the seizures, etc., away, like it doesn't do anything for the overall functioning of the brain and the body. And so it's something that personally is like a big mission for me, is to be able to eventually make so much money that I can actually help fund, you know, actual research into the right ways of giving treatment to kids who are suffering with really, really big disabilities. So, yeah, to answer your question, like, thank you so much for asking. And yeah, I'll be back in England again soon, so I'll see him and have a better answer for you. But as far as I'm aware, he's happy and he's peaceful, and he's in the best place that he can possibly be.
Wow, that's powerful. Well, thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy and your effort and everything that you do for the kingdom here in heaven, out of heaven on earth, helping people just be better versions of them through social media, through their businesses, coaching them, interviewing some top level individuals as Gary Vee, and, you know, same thing with myself. We're in the same circles as far as interviewing influencers and things like that. But just thank you for being you. God bless you on with your brother, both of your brothers, the new one and, you know, the one who's been here for a while and going through the health ailments. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. God makes no mistakes, and it has propelled you to be to the levels that you are and the height that you are. And I want to keep encouraging you. I'm gonna pray for you, and I want to keep encouraging you to never give up, keep going no matter what. And you have that tenacity. I can just tell. I mean, for you to lose the weight that you lost, for you to lose the weight that you lost to where you are right now, and you're encouraging others to do the same through health, through finances, and through coaching, and bringing on influencers and people who impact the world in a multitude of ways. God has his hands on you, beautiful, and I appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of Wealth Champs Family Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. And the thing that I always think when adversity comes up in my life is, this is put here to test me, to be able to, it's there to try and like take me off my path. When there's a challenge in life, I genuinely believe that like this is something that is designed to take you down, to take you away from what you're meant to be doing. It's a distraction. And so now when these things come out, I just thought, okay, this is literally here. This is a distraction. This is in place here to try and take me away from the success that I'm actually on my path to be making. And I think that anybody else can realize this in their own life too. When you really embody that, it makes all the challenges become so much easier. and then they just become something that you can crush, get through, and then yeah, it's going to be part of your best-selling book one day.
There you go. Well, guys, y'all better stop playing. Lauren is not playing. She's helping bring people from where they are at to 6-7 figure earners, getting them in, putting them in position where they need to go. And she's doing it through her impact school and other different various businesses that she owns. So make sure you guys subscribe to all things she said, follow her, and make sure, again, like the video, comment on the video, and hit the notification bell so that way you guys don't miss another episode. So Wealth Chance family, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you with the love of the Lord. We out. Peace.